Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Chalk Talk presented by Bear Mail, the show where we talk with sports marketing leaders who share their email marketing and SMS wins one play at a time, all with the goal of helping you, the listeners, grow fan engagement and ticket sales. I'm your host, Chris Behrens, and I'm the founder and CEO of Bear Mail, where we help professional sports teams and organizations sell and engage more fans through personalized email and SMS marketing solutions. After spending nearly the last decade of my career helping professional sports teams win off the field using email and SMS, I wanted to give back to the sports community by connecting with professionals in the space and leaders in the space and having them share their email and SMS success stories with you. What's working, what's not, and what's really moving the needle for programs. Today, I have the awesome privilege of connecting with Sohil Gala, Vice President at Two Circles. Sohil has a really unique background in sports entertainment with stops at Walt Disney World, the New York Jets, Major League Soccer, and Core Software, as well as Two Circles, working in a variety of CRM and analytics type roles. Sohil's got an incredibly rich background in data science, analytics, and CRM, and is truly one of my favorite people I've connected with in my career. Sohil, great to have you on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. And I reciprocate the feeling of being one of the favorite people I've been able to connect with.
It's awesome. I love to hear that. Sohil, I'm super pumped to be chatting with you today. First, let's tip things off. You've had a really interesting journey into your current position. Loved for you to tell the listeners a little bit about you, how you ended up in the sports and entertainment world, and some of your roles along the way, and what your role looks like today.
Yeah. I mean, I think I am one of those people who made a very conscious decision of coming into sports and marketing. So I grew up in India, studied there, wanted to get into sports and entertainment. And at that point, India was not like the most sophisticated sports market. So ended up coming to the US and got my master's here at UMass. And then as you mentioned, kind of after that, it's all been right place at the right time, right? Like worked at Disney, which I think is one of the best at marketing overall. So learned a lot of stuff out there. It's very interesting that I'm on this call today because my first job with the New York Jets was actually as a database marketing analyst. So I did actually come in with the marketing standpoint. I had a career in data before I moved to the US and kind of quickly pivoted more on the data side and left the marketing side behind in an operational way, but kind of pivoted more towards how to use data to have more effective marketing in play for all the different organizations I work with. So went from Jets to MLS, where obviously I got connected with you. I think you were at Sporting KC, but there I was manager of data, but a lot of my focus was around how do we use the data to empower our marketing campaigns across the different marketing channels. And then an opportunity came across to join the consulting world with Core and then now with Two Circles. So today I focus very highly on our audience intelligence solutions. So I go and talk to clients around just like what their problems might be around audiences, be it data, be it marketing. So I was just talking to a client yesterday and we were talking through like, hey, how do we create this whole ecosystem, right? Like you have these different organizations who are doing segmentations, but we can't apply them onto data. So it's like, how do we take the survey data, use statistical modeling and data science to actually apply that or create similar models in your database? And then how do we create what we're calling a next best action predictor? So what is the next best action for Chris, for Sohil? What channel is he consuming content on? And how do we, again, as I said, my career's been right place at the right time. I feel like that's marketing as well, right? Like it's all about having the right content in front of people on the right channel at the right time. So I feel like that's kind of been my career going from email marketing today to using data and automations to get in front of the right people with the right content on the right channel.
Really well said there, Sohil. I really love that you honed in on right message, right person, right time. It's been a truism of marketing for as long as we can remember. And the fact that you've touched both the marketing side and the data side, I think gives you a really unique perspective to deliver huge value for your clients. And it sounds like you're really focused in on your current role in finding and identifying the who and the what content we deliver to those specific individuals. So it sounds like you've really progressed in your career and really identified the best pathway to deliver the right message to the right fan at the right time. I think that really leads me well into kind of my next line of questioning is you've been on the team side, you've been on the consulting side, so I'm sure you've seen lots of great marketing and lots of bad marketing along the way. What does truly great CRM or email marketing really look like to you?
I think, like, again, I'm aging myself here, but like I've been in the industry for more than a decade, right? Like I feel like the definition of CRM has evolved in that decade, where CRM, I think, initially started as your digital Rolodex, right? Like this is where I'm going to store all my contacts. And today CRM has your contact management system, but also has your email marketing system embedded, also has your paid social embedded. So like, to me, great marketing today, an organization who's doing great marketing has all these systems kind of talking to each other, systems and departments talking to each other and building the strategy together to build a full loop of marketing feedback, right? So what's the data that's going into your marketing decision making, and then how are you tracking conversions? So it can be return on investment or return on objectives. Not every campaign has to have a dollar figure tied to it, right? Like you have awareness campaigns, but how are we tracking that? So it, to me, good marketing, good CRM today looks like where you have all these systems talking to each other, all these departments talking to each other, and KPIs that go across departments, right? So it's not like a marketing's chasing this one thing, BI is chasing this one thing, and sales is chasing this one thing. It's everybody has their own KPIs, but then there are these organizational KPIs as well that every department is honing towards.
I love that. That's a really great way to articulate what I think teams really struggle with in particular is trying to figure out how to connect all of these different pieces of not only their departmental goals and KPIs, but also their infrastructure to go deliver what you're describing, which is this great connected fan experience where we can understand here's Sohil and here's everything we know about him. And here's the types of campaigns and touch points we need to deliver to Sohil to make sure that he progresses along within the fan journey. And so it's a really exciting thing to talk about because I think you've been in this industry long enough to know that we've been talking about delivering something like this for such a long period of time, but the technology and the people and the processes weren't necessarily always there to deliver this vision. So CRM marketing has changed, like you said, where this space used to just be viewed as simply email, and now it's viewed as a much broader alignment of functions and channels to deliver a better experience, whereby we can actually get a viewpoint of here's one fan and here's how we can understand everything about that fan across all these different touch points and also deliver a different experience depending on what we know about them. Before, that felt like just an email conversation, and now it feels like a really exciting new era that we're entering where we can actually connect all these touch points together and deliver something truly special to the fan.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly it, right? Like, I think now there's just so many channels out there and there's so much content out there as well, right? So that's why it's so important that you're reaching the right audience on the right channel, right? There's so much data out there today of what age groups are interested in what channels and what content, and having marketing and your BI and your data teams now sit together and be like, hey, these are the splits of what our audience looks like. And this is why we want to have these types of audiences as well. Because again, like the more engaged your audience is, the more the dollar figures come after that, right? Like it could be direct revenue, it could be partnership revenue. So like, I think engagement is such a big metric that, again, I don't think anybody has it figured out, but engagement is going to be king here, more than anything else from a marketing standpoint, in my opinion.
100%. Engagement, from my perspective, has always been highly correlated, if not almost causal, to what's driving revenue for your business. So if you engage with fans, they're naturally going to spend more of their dollars with you, and partners are naturally going to get more excited and also spend more with your brand as well. So it makes perfect sense. And I think what you're describing too is something that I think is relatively new for teams to think about still, is thinking about connecting the fan experience across channels and creating shared goals and KPIs across all of these different departmental structures, and figuring out how to really deliver what that fan experience looks like. When I work with teams, it's often very siloed functions and thinking about how do we get this campaign out the door today for this one particular channel. When you're working with teams today, I think one of the things I find is they're always looking for silver bullets or game-changing tactics, quote unquote, where they say things like, what's going to 2x my revenue tomorrow? And I think some of those things, require time and coordination and really connecting what that fan experience looks like. But you've been on the team side, you've been on the consulting side. From your experience, what have you seen as kind of a game-changing approach when you're working with email or CRM or more direct response channel teams, when you think about how to move them from a space where they're thinking about, batch and blast campaigns to all subscribers to actually move into a more connected fan experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like, this is a very simple thing, and I think it can qualify as a game-changing tactic. But it just, again, is how can you know more about your fan, right? Because that is the key, right? Like, we've done campaigns with clients across different channels where we've seen a significant rise on ROI for something as simple as, like, let's not show a paid social ad for somebody who already has tickets to a game. It just helps. Like, again, if you already have tickets to a game, why am I showing you messaging that is around buy tickets? And just doing something like that where you are not actually, so like taking your record and not showing you an ad which is like, hey, buy tickets now, but actually putting you in a lookalike list. So let Meta and these other social platforms do their magic and show that ad to more people whose behavior looks like you. So I think, in a very simplistic, like, again, it is so simple that everybody who's going to listen to this is going to be like, yep, that's logical, right? But then you start working with organizations, it's like, wait, we don't have this in practice. So again, like, it can classify as a game-changing tactic, which gives you a quick ROI straight off the bat today. Or like a low-hanging fruit, right? So that to me is like a very simplistic one. Where we are with some other sophisticated organizations is more what I was mentioning, like a next best action predictor. So organizations who have their data in a good place, who have identity resolution in place as well, we're actually using data science to start predicting, right? Like, Chris is going to be more engaged on the mobile platform and is going to be more interested in video content or merch content or tickets content. So I think there's a big scale right now, but there's so many organizations who are not doing that low hanging fruit right now. So yeah, I think, like, what I would say is, like, it really needs a step back to understand how are we using data today, and how can we better use data. So how can I go, like, there's still these silos who exist, so like, how can I go across the building and talk to the data team and just understand, like, hey, what do we have access to today?
I love both of those examples with next best action and then thinking about other low hanging fruit opportunities. I think you articulate it well, in that if teams can find high ROI opportunities that are low lifts, particularly when you think about what the typical sports team looks like in terms of personnel, typically there's very small teams that have so much on their plate and they work across so many different functions and day-to-day tasks that typically some of these low-hanging fruit pieces that you mentioned are something that are often neglected and can be huge value to the organization. So I love the way that you frame that as a game-changing tactic too, because there are so many little low-hanging fruit pieces like suppressing, people from receiving paid advertising if they already have a ticket to the game. Simple pieces like that can drive a huge impact to the organization's bottom line. So I love that example. Awesome. Well, beyond that, one of the pieces that I always like to dive into beyond what I think you've classified correctly as low-hanging fruit is areas where I think teams sleep on in terms of where their focus areas are. I know that you talk about instilling potentially a next best action model for teams to help them identify what they should do next for particular fans. Are there any other areas that you feel like email or CRM teams are really sleeping on when it comes to marketing and their focus areas?
So yeah, so kind of going back, right? Like I think where most organizations and teams are sleeping on today is actually that cross collaboration, right? Like again, how is your email marketing driving CRM campaigns, or how is your SMS marketing driving CRM campaigns? So I think the cross departmental collaboration, or like just to give you another example, right? Like most of the sports teams that we have in the US, especially, get some type of data appends, either through a third party, or they have a lot of first party data as well. When organizations are even taking, let's say for example, out of home campaign that they're designing, how many organizations are actually going to their database and seeing, hey, what are the zip codes that our fan bases are most populated in, to figure out what our out of home strategy is. So I would say email, SMS, CRM, like, to me it's actually all of those three need to be get together. And coming back to the data side of things, right? Like, how are we using data to drive our marketing strategy based on different objectives, is where I think actually a lot of sports teams are still sleeping on.
Yeah, I really like that example too, because it's an insight that you wouldn't think about with traditional ad buying. Is just thinking about who are our fans and where do they live is such a core part of understanding how to market appropriately to a fan base. So I love the example of thinking about connecting those spaces as well, because traditionally billboard buying is not always the most data-driven piece of marketing that has ever existed out there as well. So simply using some profiling data to say, hey, our most valuable fans live in X zip code is a great starting place. I love that.
Yep.
It's great. So when you're working with sports teams, for one final question, what's your number one piece of advice when they're thinking about the best pathway to grow fan engagement or ticket sales? I think a lot of what you've talked about today, which really resonates with me, is thinking about understanding the data and understanding who fans are. Is that kind of the central place that you like to lean your teams into first when it comes to driving what their tactics and strategies look like?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to know your fan, right? Like, that is the bottom line in my opinion to drive engagement and revenue generation. Is you have to think of this as a relationship that you're building with your brand and your fans, and you can't build any relationship without knowing the other person. So knowing fans is the number one thing that we hone in on when we talk to clients about marketing and engagement. Is, again, once we know the fans, and like what we say a lot of times is, we know fans best. And if you as an organization can say we know our fans best because of all these things we know about them, that will lead to better engagement and better conversion on your campaigns.
I love that. It's a core part of marketing, and it always has been. If you know your customer, you know your fan base. In this case, I think you get better outcomes, not only on in terms of, analytics outcomes, but also marketing outcomes as well, to deliver that better fan experience and drive better outcomes for your organization. So I love that approach. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, Sohil. It's been amazing hearing some of your insights around your career, your progression into your current role, and really how you've gotten to know fans and drive teams forward with your approach from a data-driven perspective to really leading organizations and sports teams into a space where they're not just thinking about email and SMS, but they're really thinking about a broader connected fan experience. I think that it really is going to resonate with a lot of people today when they think about how they function today in terms of siloed approaches and disparate communications, and thinking about how do we create a better fan experience, not just within this channel, but across your entire experience. So Really appreciate you coming on, Sohil. It's been great to connect with you. Listeners, that's all for now. Until next time, we'll see you on the next Chalk Talk presented by Bear Mail.
Thanks, Chris.